There's something about the pure blue sky that pierces the soul. Whenever I glimpsed its light, I felt my spirits lifted upward into the resplendent glow. But when I tried to reach out and capture its brilliance, I would find myself empty-handed. I knew I was a fool for believing I could touch it, but I would give anything to be in its presence, bathed in its warmth, just once more. How I detested that radiance, a light I shunned, rejected, and despised, and above all, yearned for. Is it irrational to both loathe and cherish something? My emotions had been in disarray, driving me towards madness. But to understand what led to that incongruity, I need to start from the beginning. Fate was set in motion roughly 2,000 years ago, when the astral Lucilius created assistants to aid his research into Sky-Dweller evolution. They were the original primal beasts, though they went by a different name, Archangels. Given that we primals are immortal, the role which we are bestowed becomes our sole purpose for existing. Yet, when I was created, Supreme Primarch Lucifer saw fit to grant me nothing. I was essentially a blank slate, little more than the hollow husk of a primal. With unwavering determination, I stalked the garden of the Astral Research Lab, waiting for my chance to question Lucifer. What was my purpose in life? Only he had the answer I desperately sought. With each passing moment, the whirling tempest of inferiority and doubt within my mind grew fiercer. As my disillusionment deepened, I came to view the Supreme Primarch as my only salvation. His wisdom, his skill, and even his poise. Everything about him was sublime. It was only fitting that he was beloved by all. I was convinced there was no other being as perfect as him. Indeed, he was the light that illuminated the world. And thus, I endeavored to prove that I could be of use to him. The only way I could pull my weight was to secure a role for myself. It became an obsession. I was but a tender hatchling, pestering its parent for nourishment. If only I had been more careful of what I wished for. One day, I finally learned the truth of my purpose, and it destroyed me. I wouldn't go so far to say I was eavesdropping, more like I happened to be within earshot of a conversation between Lucilius and Lucifer. From this innocuous meeting, my entire world changed forever. A spare. I was Lucifer's spare. A temporary stand-in for the Supreme Primarch, should circumstances go awry. However, when you're the definition of perfection like Lucifer, a spare becomes redundant. Not only was I born a backup, I was a useless one. My dreams were built on hope, respect, and admiration. Yet, it wasn't until everything came crashing down that I realized how flimsy that foundation had been. In one brief flash, I came to hate the light. Much time passed after that shocking revelation, though little of note occurred. Later, however, a faction of the Archangels rose up in rebellion against the Astrals. They were the fallen angels, primals who believed themselves to be at the top of the food chain, radicals who snapped at the hands of their creators. Their mission was to shake up the hierarchy. Lost in rage from being tossed aside like a broken doll, I joined the rebellion without hesitation. It was my chance to claim revenge on Lucifer and Lucilius. No, just Lucifer. But the revolt was quashed, and I, along with the fallen angels, was imprisoned in Pandemonium. I languished in that colossal cage for 2 millennia, an eternity, even for a being with all the time in the world. Yet, as chance would have it, when Vern and Lyria came in contact with each other for the first time, a deafening roar reverberated across the skies, signaling the opportunity for me to escape. Luck was on my side. But when I emerged back into the open skies, Lucifer was nowhere to be found. I wanted to be berated. I yearned to be scolded. But above all else, I needed acknowledgement. And I wouldn't rest until I got what I deserved. If I needed to light the world ablaze just to smoke him out, so be it. I destroyed the equilibrium between the tetra elements, fire, water, earth, and wind. Deprived of that delicate balance, the islands would lose buoyancy and crash into the crimson horizon below. My lips twisted into a grin as I watched the Primarchs scramble to put out my fires. Wiping out the world wasn't even that hard. I had barely broken a sweat. I shed no tears for the ruin of the skies. My focus was exhausted, suffocated by the stranglehold Lucifer kept on my heart. Darkness had conquered my judgment to the point where not even his light could mollify me. But that was what I wanted. What possessed me to commit such atrocities? Why did I lash out with such rancor? I asked rhetorically. I already knew the answers. I didn't care if I became a villain. All I cared about was proving my existence. Nothing was going to stop me. Come what may, I was going to force his hand.